Hey, Steelers Nation. We're back with an exclusive video packed with the latest updates on our beloved Pittsburgh Steelers. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. This way, you'll never miss any exclusive updates or exciting Steelers news. All right, folks, hold on to your seats because if this rumor turns out to be true, it might just shake the entire NFL landscape to its core. The talk swirling around Pittsburgh right now is nothing short of insane. The Steelers, yes, the same black and gold dynasty known for their defensive tradition, have reportedly reached an agreement with none other than Aaron Donald. Let that sink in for a second. Aaron, freaking Donald, the man who's been the face of defensive dominance for nearly a decade, the player who can single-handedly wreck offensive lines, ruin game plans, and make quarterbacks lose sleep the night before. If this deal is real, it's not just a signing, it's a seismic shift. Imagine pairing Donald with T.J. Watt, Minkah Fitzpatrick, and that ferocious defensive unit already known for leading the league in sacks. The word coming out of insiders close to the situation suggests that Donald, who had hinted at retirement and a desire to play only for his hometown team, was convinced by the Steelers' front office with a mix of nostalgia, ambition, and a Super Bowl dream. The vibe in Pittsburgh is electric, and fans are already flooding social media with Steel Curtain 2.0 hashtags like it's 1976 all over again. What makes this rumor so juicy is not just the player himself, but what it represents for the Steelers' entire philosophy. For years, Pittsburgh has been searching for that one missing piece, the anchor that could elevate an already tough defense into something historically dominant. Aaron Donald isn't just a missing piece, he's the whole foundation. Imagine opposing offenses trying to figure out how to double-team Watt on the edge while Donald collapses the pocket from the interior. Offensive coordinators would need therapy sessions after facing that front seven. And let's not forget the emotional layer here. Donald is a Pittsburgh native, a local hero who grew up watching the Steelers' legendary defenses and dreaming of playing in black and gold. There's a poetic symmetry to it, a story that feels like destiny. Reports say that the deal was quietly being discussed for weeks, with Donald's camp keeping things tight-lipped while the Steelers maneuvered cap space to make it happen. If it's confirmed, this could go down as one of the most shocking, yet perfect, moves in franchise history. The kind of moment that instantly reignites championship talk in the Steel City. And here's where things get even more intriguing. Apparently, this wasn't just a random move from Pittsburgh's front office. Rumor has it, Mike Tomlin himself was deeply involved in persuading Donald to come home. The two reportedly met privately in Los Angeles during the offseason, where Tomlin painted a vision of legacy, not just victory. He told Donald that this would be about more than football. It would be about coming full circle, about writing the perfect ending to an already legendary career. Sources claim that the conversation struck an emotional chord, with Donald admitting he'd always imagined what it would be like to play in front of family and friends at Acrisure Stadium. The Steelers, knowing the emotional pull of that hometown factor, played their cards perfectly. And when Donald saw the young, hungry defense the Steelers were building, anchored by Watt, Highsmith, and Fitzpatrick, the decision supposedly became a lot easier. The whispers are that the contract isn't even the biggest part of it. It's about legacy, pride, and one last chase for a ring in his city. If this deal does get announced officially, buckle up because the AFC North might become a living nightmare for opposing quarterbacks. Think about it. Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and Deshaun Watson will now have to face a front featuring T.J. Watt, Aaron Donald, and Cam Hayward. That's not just unfair, that's borderline cruel. The Steelers' identity has always been built around defense, toughness, and intimidation. And this move would bring that culture roaring back to life. This wouldn't just be a defense, it would be a statement. Every blitz, every sack, every quarterback hit would carry the echo of decades of Steelers dominance. Insiders are already speculating that Pittsburgh could instantly jump from fringe playoff contender to legitimate Super Bowl threat, especially if Kenny Pickett and the offense can take even a small step forward. The balance of power in the AFC could shift overnight, and you better believe that teams like Kansas City and Buffalo are paying attention. This isn't just a roster move, It's a psychological blow to every other contender. Of course, as with any rumor of this magnitude, skepticism is running high. Some analysts think it's too good to be true, pointing out that Donald had publicly flirted with the idea of retirement after last season. They argue that the cap implications would be massive, that the Steelers would need to restructure multiple contracts to make the numbers work. But those close to the organization insist that Pittsburgh has been planning for a move like this for months, quietly clearing space, preparing for a moment exactly like this one. They see it as a once-in-a-generation opportunity, the chance to bring a local legend home while simultaneously elevating their defense to mythical status. If we've learned anything about the Steelers' front office over the years, it's that they move quietly but decisively. When they strike big. And this would be their biggest strike since trading up for Troy Polamalu or drafting Ben Roethlisberger. It's that level of magnitude, that level of statement. And while fans are waiting for confirmation, the excitement in Pittsburgh is already at fever pitch. People are calling sports radio shows, tailgate forums are lighting up, and even former players are chiming in on social media, practically begging for the rumor to be true. You can feel in the air that buzz that only comes when something truly special might be happening. Whether this turns into reality or remains just a beautiful what if, one thing's certain. The idea of Aaron Donald wearing the black and gold has reignited something deep in Steelers Nation. It's nostalgia mixed with hope, passion blended with power. And if this all becomes official, the NFL better brace itself, because the Steelers wouldn't just be back. They'd be terrifying again, a team built not just to win games, but to dominate every inch of the field. The Steel Curtain wouldn't just be reborn. It would be reforged in fire, led by a hometown hero ready to leave one last mark on the game he mastered. Now, let's dig even deeper into what this potential signing could mean for the league as a whole, because it's not just a Pittsburgh story. It's a football story that echoes across the NFL. If Aaron Donald actually joins the Steelers, it sends a clear message to the rest of the league. Pittsburgh isn't playing around anymore. This isn't a rebuild. This is an all-in statement of intent. For years, fans and analysts have said that the Steelers' defense was good, but not quite legendary, missing that one transcendent player to push them over the top. Now imagine Donald anchoring the interior, freeing up Watt and Highsmith to attack from the edges with reckless abandon. You'd have 3 Pro Bowl-caliber defenders all capable of taking over games by themselves, now operating in unison. The Steelers wouldn't just be stopping offenses, they'd be suffocating them. Offensive lines would crumble, quarterbacks would panic, and offensive coordinators would spend sleepless nights trying to come up with miracle plays. This kind of defensive firepower changes everything about how you approach a season, and every team in the AFC would be forced to adapt quickly or be left behind. From a psychological perspective, having Aaron Donald walk into that Steelers locker room changes the atmosphere immediately. You're talking about a player whose work ethic is legendary, the type of athlete who sets the tone just by how he prepares. Younger players like Keanu Benton, Nick Herbig, and Joey Porter Jr. would have a front row seat to greatness every single day in practice. It would be a masterclass in intensity and discipline. Mike Tomlin, known for his ability to get the best out of his players, would suddenly have a defensive unit that's not only physically dominant, but mentally elite. It's that combination that wins championships. The last time the Steelers had a defense that struck fear like this, it was the Polamalu, Harrison, and Woodley era. Adding Donald could spark that same aura again, that feeling opponents get when they step into Acrisure Stadium and realize they're about to face something primal, something relentless. The Steelers' defensive identity would return in full force, and the rest of the NFL would have no choice but to respect it. Financially speaking, it's fascinating to think about how the Steelers might structure this deal. Given Donald's status and the size of his previous contract with the Rams, this wouldn't be a bargain signing. But the front office could play it smart, offering a short-term, high-value deal packed with incentives tied to playoff success and defensive milestones. That would make sense for both sides. Donald gets one last massive payday while chasing another ring, and the Steelers get an elite player without mortgaging their future. There's even speculation that Donald might take a small hometown discount, especially if it means finishing his career where it all began. The kind of loyalty and emotional connection is rare in today's game, and it would only add to the mythology of his story. Fans would embrace him not just as a superstar, but as one of their own coming home. And when you mix that emotion with the kind of dominance Donald brings, you've got a recipe for something unforgettable, a season that could define an era. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. But beyond the money and strategy, there's a sense that this move, if true, would carry a deeper significance. It's about legacy for both Donald and the Steelers organization. Donald doesn't need to prove anything. His Hall of Fame jacket is already waiting for him. But there's something powerful about finishing where you started, about closing the loop. The Steelers, meanwhile, have been searching for that next chapter in their storied defensive history, that next name to hang alongside Green, Lambert, Polamalu, and Harrison. Donald could be that guy. He could be the bridge between generations, the player who reminds everyone that Pittsburgh's heart still beats on defense. And let's be honest, the idea of Donald wearing that black jersey, walking through the tunnel to the sound of terrible towels waving in unison, it's the stuff of NFL folklore. It's a scene that would instantly become iconic, the kind of image that defines a franchise's identity for years to come. Still, until there's an official announcement, this remains the most electrifying what-if of the offseason. Fans are refreshing Twitter every 5 minutes. Insiders are dropping cryptic emojis, and the entire football world is waiting for confirmation. If it happens, every headline, every podcast, every sports show in America will be talking about the Steelers. And even if it doesn't, the mere possibility has already reminded everyone why this game captures hearts the way it does. Because it's about passion, hope, and the belief that something magical can happen at any moment. So whether this is just smoke or the start of a firestorm, one thing's for sure. The idea of Aaron Donald coming home has reignited the spirit of the Steel Curtain. And if that rumor turns real, then the rest of the NFL better be ready, because the black and gold are coming. And this time, they're bringing nightmares. And finally, if we're talking about impact, this could redefine what it means to build a defense in the modern NFL. In an era dominated by offense, where rules favor quarterbacks and receivers, the Steelers might be rewriting the script, showing that brute force, intelligence, and pure defensive mastery can still win championships. Aaron Donald is the personification of that mindset. He doesn't talk much, he just dominates. And putting him in the heart of Pittsburgh's defense could set off a ripple effect throughout the league. Other teams would scramble to find ways to counter it. New offensive schemes would emerge, and suddenly the arms race in the AFC would take on a whole new dimension. This isn't just about stats, it's about fear. True defensive fear, the kind that makes even the best quarterbacks hesitate for that split second longer. And in the NFL, that hesitation is the difference between a completion and a sack, between victory and defeat. So if this rumor comes to life, it won't just change the Steelers. It could change football itself. One signing, one legend, one homecoming. The city of Pittsburgh might just be on the verge of witnessing its next great era of steel and fire. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.